Every flower in this bed came back free this year. I planted none of it. 10 of them, while my neighbors at the garden center again. Watch that purple one sway, brush a leaf and it does something the others can't. That one's number 1. You spent $130 last spring on flowers that were dead by October. Stay, I'll show you the ones you plant once. Lavender, coneflower, that catmint by the path, Russian sage, the whole bed, and I planted every one of them exactly once. No new plants, no replacements, no garden center run. They came back on their own, and one earns its keep in a way you won't expect. Hey, quick, hi, I'm Maggie. No affiliates, no sponsor, just me testing what actually comes back so you stop rebuying flowers every year. Here's the honest part, nobody at the garden center says out loud. Your black thumb probably isn't the problem. Your plant choices are. Most of what dies on you every fall are annuals, gorgeous one season, gone by frost. You didn't kill them. They were built to die. Perennials do something completely different. They don't die in winter. They go to sleep underground and wake themselves up in spring. So today it's 10 flowers you plant once and basically forget, counting down from 10 to the one that does something the others can't. And I'll be straight the whole way. 3 of these come with a catch, and I'll tell you exactly what it is before you buy. Quick one before we roll. If a garden center ever talked you into a full tray of annuals, drop what you spent in the comments. I want to see how much we've all quietly handed over for flowers that were never coming back. I'm guessing it's ugly. Because here's the math that floored me. A full bed of annuals runs you around $120–150 every single spring. A perennial bed that same size costs more up front. Call it a rough $180 the first year. But that's it, one time? After that? Zero. They come back on their own. 3 years of annuals and you've spent more than the perennials that would have lasted a decade. That's rough. Back of napkin math, not a lab study, prices swing by region, but the shape holds, plant once beats plant every spring. So let's count them down. Number 10, the closest thing to plant it and walk away on this list, sedum, stonecrop. Fat, succulent leaves, star-shaped flowers late summer, no deadheading, no dividing, no staking. You just leave it alone. Here's the wild part. When it gets dry, sedum flips how it breathes, opening its pores at night, not daytime, like a cactus. Scientists call it CAM photosynthesis. In one study, that switch let a sedum use up to 80% less water. So it waters itself. The one thing it can't survive is soggy soil, good drainage, full sun, and it outlives you. Number 9. Yarrow. Ferny leaves, flat flower clusters, and the strangest thing, it blooms better when you ignore it. I mean that. Give yarrow rich soil and it grows floppy leaves. It wants poor, dry, sunny, where nothing else survives. Extension data says it plainly. Nitrogen-rich soil gives you lush foliage but fewer flowers. A plant designed to thrive on neglect. One honest note. Yarrow spreads. It runs by roots and reseeds fast. Give it room or snip spent flowers to contain it. Which is the perfect spot for skip number 1. The thing everyone keeps buying every year that this video will save you from. Skip filling your beds with annuals, petunias, marigolds, the full flat of color the garden center wheels out every May. I'm not saying they're ugly, they're gorgeous, but an annual sprints. It races to flower, drops seed, and dies. That's the life plan. Scientists call it drought escape. The plant finishes fast before things get hard. Perennials do the opposite. Dig in, wait it out. So every flat of annuals is a bill that comes back next spring. Love them in pots, just not the whole bed. Number 8, lavender. And this one has a number that stopped me cold. In an experiment, it survived 30 days with no water. 30 days! My potted annuals wilted if I missed a Tuesday. Lavender sends roots down deep and rides it out. The why is underground. It drives roots way down chasing moisture and thickens the waxy coat on its leaves to stop water loss. Under stress, plants can build that waxy layer up to 2.5 times thicker. That's lavender's drought trick, free. Here's the catch, and there's always one. Lavender hates wet feet. It wants dry, sandy soil. Plant it in clay, and it rots. Give it a gritty spot in full sun and it'll live 10–15 years and smell incredible. Prune it once a year. Done. Quick gut check while we're here. Like the video if any of this has you eyeing an empty corner of your yard right now. Number 7. Coneflower. Echinacea. Those big daisy-like blooms with the raised center, purple and gold, standing tall all summer. This one's a true perennial that runs its own nursery. It reseeds around the garden, so one plant slowly becomes a colony. And you don't have to deadhead it. Leave the seed heads up and birds work them all fall. Free plants, free bird show. Drought tolerant once settled, low maintenance, comes back every year. Coneflower is the one I tell nervous first-timers to start with. Number 6. Russian sage. That hazy, silvery purple cloud landscapers put in every fancy front yard. This is it, for pennies. It's a drought king. Silver stems, tiny purple flowers, and almost nothing eats it or sickens it. Extension notes say no pests. The one job it asks, cut it back to a foot every spring, or it gets woody and leggy, one chop a year. Do that, and it comes back fuller every season. It was named Perennial Plant of the Year and otherwise thrives on neglect. And here's the link, honesty stop. I'm not selling you a single seed. Everything here is verified against university extension pages. Sources in the description. Number 5. Coreopsis. Tick seed. Little bright yellow daisies that bloom for months and shrug off deer, drought, heat, humidity. It's an aggressive self-seeder like coneflower, so it fills in fast and cheap. One packet, a golden drift in 2 seasons. Honest catch? It's so vigorous you'll divide it every couple years, 10 minutes with a shovel and free plants. That's the theme of this list. The catch is never you killed it, it's it spreads, the opposite of a black thumb. Number 4. Salvia. Those tall purple spikes bees absolutely swarm. Tough, drought tolerant, comes back reliable every year. But this one has a real honest note. Salvia gives you one big beautiful wave of flowers, then quits unless you do something. Shear off the spent spikes after that first wave, cut it back, and it pushes a second round of blooms weeks later. Skip that cut and you get one show instead of 2. It won't die, it just coasts. A 5-minute a summer plant. Quick, like the video if you've walked past a plant like this at the store. No idea it came back every year. Now you do. Number 3. Black-eyed Susan. Rudbeckia. Golden petals. Dark button center. The flower that basically means late summer. Now I have to be straight, because the internet lies about this one. People call it a rock-solid perennial. It's not. The common black-eyed Susan is short-lived. The original plant fades after a year or 2, but here's why it makes the list. It reseeds so freely it comes back anyway. From a new seedling, not the same root, same golden patch every year. So it acts like a plant once flower, even if the mechanism differs. Just don't rip out the dead stems next year's seeds. Now skip number 2, the mistake that kills more of these plants than any bug will, and I bet you've done it. Skip overwatering them the first year. This is the trap. You bring home a drought-tough perennial and love it to death. Here's the truth about plant and forget. Year 1, you don't forget. Everyone needs regular water while it grows roots. University Extension says establishing those roots can take 1 to 3 years. During that stretch, they're not drought-proof, still babies. But water deep and then back off. Let the topsoil dry between drinks. Constant soggy soil rots the roots you're growing. Number 2. The daylily. Those trumpet flowers along a fence in every easy care yard, about as tough as flowers get. It laughs off drought and poor soil, comes back thicker every year, and forms fat clumps that run the bed. The one honest catch, every 3 or 4 years those clumps get crowded and bloom less. Dig one up, split, replant, and that split is free plants. One daylily becomes 6. The theme again, the catch is never that you killed it. And here's why they come back at all. That dying back in fall isn't death. The roots stay alive underground, storing energy all winter. Cold weather flips a switch inside them that releases dormancy and tells them when to grow. Gardeners call it sleep, creep, leap. Year 1, they sleep and you water. Year 2, they creep and fill in. Year 3, they leap and you did nothing. Save this video for planting weekend. You'll want that watering rule the day you put these in the ground. Deep, then let it dry. Last skip, number 3. Skip chasing fussy, perfect conditions specialty picks online. It's the one that quietly wastes the most money. You fall down a rabbit hole hunting the perfect rare plant, pay a premium, and it's the diva that dies. Every flower on this list is famously easy for most gardens. Start with the tough, common, boring ones. Experiment later. Okay, sleepers, drought kings, self-seeders. There's one flower left, and it does something none of the others can. This is number 1, Catmint. Nepeta, soft mounds of silvery leaves, a haze of purple-blue flowers all summer, bees all over it. Drought tough, comes back every year. That alone earns a spot. But here's what makes it number 1. Brush against Catmint, crush a leaf walking by, and it releases an oil. That oil is nepetalactone. To a mosquito, it's not a smell to avoid. It hits a receptor and physically irritates them, a natural repellent. Researchers found mosquitoes bred to lack that one receptor stopped reacting to it entirely. The mechanism is real, aimed right at biting bugs. In lab tests, that oil hit over 95% repellency against mosquitoes. Scientists put it right alongside DEET. Same job, very different price tag. Now let me be dead honest, because the internet oversells this. A catmint plant just sitting there won't clear your whole patio of mosquitoes. The oil has to be released by touch, so plant it right along the path and the doorway, where you brush it walking by. Every pass sets off a puff of repellent right where you stand. That's why it's number 1, unkillable, blooms all summer and works for you. My neighbor watched me plant a row along my walk, and now hers is going in this weekend. That's the whole review I need. So there's the bed. 10 flowers you plant once. Sedum, yarrow, lavender, coneflower, Russian sage, coreopsis, salvia, black-eyed Susan, daylily, and catmint. If you plant just one thing this year, plant number 1, catmint, by the path, so you get the flowers and the bug trick both. Remember the shape? A tray of annuals is a bill every spring. This bed is one bill, once, then years of coming back free. And the one rule that makes it work, year 1, you water and wait. After that, nature does the job and you get to forget. Next time I'm walking the aisle for the shade corner, the tough, leafy plants that fill the spots where nothing sunny wants to grow. Turns out the black thumb was never the problem. We were buying flowers built to die. Smart dollars, real gardens, verified receipts. What corner next?